Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive.
From AI-inspired insights from farmers.
If you're enjoying what we're doing here, we'd love to hear from you too.
Absolutely.
Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and definitely leave a comment telling us what you want to see more of on this deep dive.
We're always looking for new ideas, and we really value your feedback.
So what farm-related mysteries are you dying to uncover?
Right.
What questions are keeping you up at night? Let us know, and maybe we'll tackle them in a future deep dive. Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine farming today, but it looks more like, well, a Silicon Valley startup than a traditional field, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We're deep into the age of precision agriculture. I mean, sensors dotting the landscape, drones analyzing crops from above, software making incredibly precise decisions about everything from watering to pest control.
It really is. It's promising efficiency, higher yields, a much smarter way to farm.
A true revolution.
It is, yeah. Data is becoming just as vital as, soil and water. This technology allows for optimization we haven't seen before, reducing waste, increasing productivity, and potentially making farming, well, more sustainable too.
Oh, there's always a but, isn't
There
there?
is. With all this connectivity comes a major vulnerability, one that's often overlooked, actually.
And that's the silent and, frankly, rapidly growing threat of cyber attacks. We're talking about digital intruders who can mess with your sensors, lock up critical data with ransomware, hijack automated machinery, basically paralyze your entire operation.
Right.
This isn't just losing files. It can hit crops, livestock, your ability to function, period.
Exactly. It's a risk that's accelerating right alongside the adoption of the technology itself. It's quite concerning.
So our mission in this deep dive is to pull the key insights from the sources you've shared. We want to understand exactly what these cyber risks look like in modern agriculture.
Yeah, from the vulnerable tech itself, like those IoT sensors and drones, to the potential impact ransomware in the barn, you could say.
Ransomware in the barn, I like that. And most importantly, to provide practical, actionable defense strategies you can implement, right now to protect your farm in this increasingly digital world.
Absolutely. Let's get into it.
All right, let's dive into this intersection of farming and tech. Precision agriculture. It paints an incredible picture, doesn't it? Using data from those high-tech eyes and ears, sensors, drones, smart equipment to apply resources like water and fertilizer only where and when needed. The sources talk about cutting costs, boosting yields, just farming smarter.
And that targeted approach, that's the core benefit, right? But that very connectivity, the data flow, it turns your farm into a complex digital network.
And these networks are becoming prime targets.
Unfortunately, yes. The sources are very clear. Cyber attacks specifically targeting food and agriculture are a significant and rapidly escalating problem globally.
The scale is really quite striking when you look at the numbers.
Yeah.
One source points out that the food and agriculture sector is now the 7th most attacked sector worldwide. That's high up the list.
It really is. And we saw that alarming statistic that ransomware attacks on the industry more than doubled in just the first quarter of 2025 compared to the previous year.
Doubled in a quarter. That's a huge leap.
It is. And, experts think that number is likely understated. Many attacks, especially maybe less sophisticated ones or those hitting smaller operations, might go unreported.
Not even completely unnoticed.
Exactly. Until significant damage has already occurred. It's a hidden threat in many ways.
Which brings us to this interesting disconnect highlighted in one report. While most farmers surveyed felt they hadn't experienced a cyber attack,
Right.
nearly half of their suppliers reported being hit.
That's a big gap.
Suggests threats are absolutely moving through the agricultural supply chain, and could be impacting farms without the farmer even realizing where the problem started. It creates potentially a dangerous blind spot.
Precisely. The interconnected nature of the system means a weakness in one part can expose the whole, including the farm itself. It's not just about your own setup.
So where exactly are these weaknesses? How do attackers get in? The sources offer a really helpful way to think about this, breaking down a precision ag system into, 4 key layers?
Yeah, 4 layers where vulnerabilities exist. Understanding these layers is really the first step to building your defenses. Think of it like dissecting the digital anatomy of your farm operation. The model describes a perception layer, a network layer, an application layer, and finally an execution layer.
Okay, let's start at the ground floor then, or maybe the field level, the perception layer. This is the eyes and ears you mentioned, the sensors grabbing data on soil, weather, crop health, the drones flying overhead.
Right. These devices, like smart soil sensors or, weather stations, they're critical, but they can be vulnerable points. An attacker could compromise a sensor to feed you false data.
So making you think a field is dry when it's actually flooded or something like that?
Exactly. Or vice versa. Drones can be hijacked, their data rerouted, or maybe just denied to you entirely. And even GPS signals, which are crucial for automated machinery.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They can be jammed, just flooded with noise to disrupt navigation, or even spoofed broadcasting fake location data that sends your equipment way off course.
Off into a ditch, maybe.
Could happen. Even seemingly simple things like battery-powered sensors are targets for attacks that drain their power really quickly. They call them sleep deprivation attacks. Exploiting these devices can reveal incredibly sensitive operational data too.
So messing with the raw information collection. Okay, next up is the network layer, the information highway. This is everything moving that data around wired connections, Wi-Fi, cellular, or those specialized farm networks like LoRaWAN.
Yep. This layer is vulnerable to disruption. Attackers can flood your network with traffic in a denial of service or DOS attack, or a distributed denial of service, DDoS.
Like jamming the phone lines, essentially.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine every phone line into your farm office jammed simultaneously so no legitimate calls can get through. Routing attacks can send your data the wrong way or just nowhere at all, and man-in-the-middle attacks, mid-hap, or packet sniffing allow attackers to literally intercept and even manipulate the data as it travels across your network. They could see that sensitive fertilizer recipe or your planting schedule for tomorrow. Unencrypted networks are particularly easy targets for this kind of digital eavesdropping.
Okay, that data highway leads us to the application layer, the brain. This is where the computers, the software, and importantly, the human users analyze all that data and make decisions, often using cloud-based farm management systems, right?
Exactly. And this is a high-value target because it's where those critical operational decisions are made. Vulnerabilities often involve unauthorized access. Sometimes it's as simple as guessing weak passwords.
Well, wow.
Or bypassing logins because multi-factor authentication, MFA, where you need that second code from your phone or something, isn't being used.
That second step is so important.
It really is. Attackers can also use sophisticated tactics like signature wrapping, basically forging digital permission slips, or forged measure injection, where they inject fake data directly into your management software.
To trick you into making bad decisions.
Precisely. Wrong decisions about irrigation, chemical application, you name it. And let's not forget that human element, again, phishing emails, scam texts, even sophisticated AI-driven voice scams, vishing, targeting the people using the systems to get access.
This is where some of those precision agriculture pitfalls around data trust really come into play, isn't it? If the system's compromised.
Absolutely. If you can't trust the data or the decisions coming out, the whole point of precision ag starts to break down.
And finally, the layer that turns decisions into action, the execution layer. The automated tractors, robotic milkers, irrigation valves, automated feed systems, the actual machinery. Many now connected to the network.
Right, and this is where attacks have direct physical consequences. Malware can infect these machines from really simple sources like a compromised USB drive or even a bad data cable.
Just a USB stick.
Can be enough, yeah. Attackers can then use forged control injection to send malicious commands telling an irrigation system to stay on indefinitely, or a sprayer to just dump chemicals. GPS spoofing could send that automated tractor into a ditch, like you said.
That's terrifying.
It is. These attacks can lead to severely damaged equipment or improper operation of vital systems, like environmental controls in a barn, potentially harming livestock. This is the scary reality of, as you called it, ransomware in the barn, where digital intrusion directly impacts physical farm stuff.
It's clear these vulnerabilities touch every single part of a modern farm. So stepping back, what are the real-world consequences? Why does this matter so profoundly?
Well, the impacts are devastating, frankly. Economically, the costs can be immense. Replacing damaged equipment, losing an entire season's yield because data was corrupted, or livestock harmed because automated systems failed.
Yeah.
The sources give some really stark examples. A single farm losing $9 million back in 2021 from an attack, or a large meat processor paying an $11 million ransom just to get their systems back online.
$11 million just to get back to work.
And the ransom demands themselves can cripple an operation, often running into the millions.
And it doesn't stop at the individual farm gate, does it? This has bigger implications.
Absolutely not. Agriculture is critical infrastructure for a reason. Attacks can cascade through the supply chain, which is often very tightly integrated.
Yeah.
Disrupting not just production, but processing, distribution.
Everything.
Yeah. With just-in-time delivery models so common today, hitting one key player can cause market volatility, price spikes, and potentially even food shortages. It makes the industry an appealing target for those wanting to cause maximum disruption.
There's even an environmental impact mentioned, which seems, well, counterintuitive for tech that's supposed to be efficient.
It does seem odd, but it's true. If compromised, these precise systems can be manipulated to do the exact opposite of what they're designed for. Over irrigation, applying way too much fertilizer or pesticide in the wrong places.
So waste and pollution.
Exactly. It directly undermines the sustainability goals that precision agriculture is supposed to support.
And finally, there's the long-term impact on trust. That feels significant too.
It is. Data security failures erode trust. If you, as a farmer, can't be confident that your sensitive operational data is secure, that it won't be exploited or held hostage, you'll be hesitant to adopt new technologies.
Understandably so.
And that slows down innovation across the entire sector, which ultimately impacts everyone.
Okay, the stakes are incredibly high: financial ruin, food security, the environment, the future of farming tech itself. So knowing all this, how do farmers fight back? What are the defense strategies, the best practices the sources highlight?
It definitely requires a multifaceted approach, and a proactive one. Just like managing pests or planting crops, you need to build resilience at every level.
Where should someone start? What are the first steps?
Getting the basics right is absolutely non-negotiable. Think of it as like fundamental farm maintenance, but for your digital systems. Use strong, unique passwords for everything.
Not the same one for your bank and your barn Wi-Fi.
Please, no. And implement multi-factor authentication, MFA, wherever possible for critical logins. That extra step makes a huge difference.
Okay, strong passwords, MFA. What else for the basics?
Keep your software and firmware updated. On all connected devices, computers, phones, yes, but also the sensors, the equipment consoles, everything. Updates patch known security holes that attackers actively look for.
Patching is key.
It is, and absolutely critical. Regular data backups. Store them securely and ideally offline. If ransomware hits, that offline backup is your lifeline. It lets you restore operations without having to consider paying a ransom.
Those seem like practical steps anyone can take.
Right.
What about specifically for the farm systems and network, getting a bit more technical?
Right. This is where you need to think about segmenting your network. Basically, don't let your smart greenhouse sensors sit on the same network pathway as your business accounting computer.
Keep them separate.
Use firewalls. Think of them as digital barriers to create separate zones. This limits an attacker's ability to move from a less secure device, maybe that sensor, to a critical system. Encrypt sensitive data, too, both when it's being sent across the network and when it's stored. This makes it unreadable if someone intercepts it.
And watching the network.
Yes, monitor your network traffic. Look for unusual activity that could signal an intrusion. Intrusion detection systems can help automate this, flag things that look suspicious.
We've talked about the human element being a vulnerability quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
How do we flip that? How do we make people a defense?
Human vigilance is honestly one of your best defenses. Regular cybersecurity awareness training is essential. For anyone using technology on the farm, yourself, employees, even seasonal workers if they're using connected systems.
What should that training cover?
Teach everyone to recognize phishing emails, those fake emails trying to steal passwords. Understand social engineering tactics, how attackers manipulate people. Be cautious about unsolicited requests for information or access. And foster a culture where people feel comfortable reporting anything suspicious without fear of getting in trouble.
Open communication.
Critical. And having a plan for when things inevitably go wrong.
An incident response plan.
Exactly. Develop a formal one. What steps do you take immediately if you suspect a cyber attack? Who do you call? How do you isolate the problem? Planning minimizes damage and speeds recovery significantly. Conduct regular risk assessments, too, to understand the specific vulnerabilities on your farm. Every operation is different.
And stay informed, I guess.
Definitely. The threats targeting agriculture are constantly evolving. Keep up to date.
Are there external resources farmers can tap into? It sounds like a lot to manage alone.
Oh, absolutely. Don't feel you have to figure this all out by yourself. Consider working with experienced cybersecurity partners or consultants. Ideally, ones who understand agricultural technology. They can assess your specific risks and provide tailored solutions.
Professional help?
Look into resources and training offered by government agencies or industry organizations. Many are developing programs specifically for agriculture now, and explore cyber insurance. It doesn't prevent attacks, obviously, but it can be a vital tool to mitigate that potentially crippling financial impact.
Good point.
And one last thing, when you're buying new precision agriculture technology, look beyond just the performance and cost. Carefully assess its security features. Choose reputable vendors who clearly prioritize security in their design and offer ongoing support.
That's a really comprehensive list of defense strategies. It covers everything from basic digital hygiene to planning and getting external help. Let's take a moment now for that bonus insight, pulling directly from the sources on strengthening that core network foundation. Really trying to keep cybercriminals out of your fields, digitally speaking.
Okay, yeah, let's get slightly more specific about building a robust technical foundation for your digital farm. Think of your network like the infrastructure for your actual fields. The roads, the fences, the irrigation lines. It needs to be built right to protect what's inside.
So starting with those digital fences, the firewalls, how do we set those up effectively?
Exactly. Setting up firewalls effectively means not just having one at the very edge of your network where your internet comes in, but potentially using internal firewalls too, to segment different areas, like we mentioned.
Like separating the office network from the field sensors.
Precisely.
Yeah.
This ensures that even if an attacker compromises, say, a less protected sensor network, they can't easily jump over to your secure farm office network where, sensitive financial or operational planning data is stored. It's all about creating those secure zones, containing the blast radius, so to speak.
And then protecting every piece of equipment connected within those zones.
Endpoint protection, right?
Yes, exactly. Endpoint protection. Every device from your main computer to the controllers on your automated tractors, even smart HVAC in a barn is an endpoint. You need to ensure they're securely configured. Not running with default passwords, that's a big one.
Change the defaults.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And consistently patched with software updates. Think of each endpoint as a potential door into your network. You need to make sure they are all locked and monitored. It's not just about the network itself, but every single device on it.
And bringing back that human element one more time, how does training specifically contribute to securing this network foundation? It feels like a tech issue. Well, because humans are the ones interacting with the network and its endpoints constantly. Training helps people recognize network-based threats, like those phishing links and emails that try to get them to compromise their device or give up their login credentials.
Ah.
It teaches them to identify unusual network behavior or maybe strange connection attempts they notice. Human vigilance acts as an essential early warning system that complements those technical network controls. A well-trained operator might spot something that just feels off, something that even a sophisticated intrusion detection system might initially miss.
So the people are part of the network defense too.
A critical part.
This has been incredibly insightful. We've gone from the exciting vision of precision agriculture to the very real and growing cyber risks. We've broken down where those risks lie in those different layers.
Perception, network, application, execution.
Right. And, crucially, provided a clear roadmap for defense. It feels much less overwhelming now.
Good. Because protecting your farm in the digital age, it demands the same level of dedication, planning, and continuous learning as, mastering soil science or livestock health. Thinking about data security and cyber resilience isn't some optional tech problem anymore.
It's fundamental.
It's fundamental to operational stability, financial health, and even the sustainability of your farm going forward.
And by understanding these threats and proactively implementing these strategies we've discussed, you really can confidently leverage the power of technology. Make your operation more efficient, more productive, and most importantly, more resilient against these digital challenges.
Building that secure foundation is absolutely key to thriving in this new landscape. It's not about being scared of the tech, it's about using it smartly and securely.
Which leaves us with this final thought to consider. As farming relies more and more heavily on data and connectivity, how does ensuring the security of that data become just as fundamental for global food security as those age-old concerns like the weather or the condition of the soil?
That's a powerful question to end on, something we all need to think about. We hope this exploration has been valuable. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.
Hitting that like button and smash that subscribe.